I was standing in the kitchen, holding a mug of coffee I hadn't taken a sip from, staring blankly at my wife, Madison, as she zipped up her suitcase. Her long red nails clicked against the handle, and that smug little smile on her face, it wasn't the smile of someone going on a girl's trip, like she told me last week. Now she was honest. Sort of. It's just a weekend trip with Liam, she said casually, like Liam wasn't her ex-fiancé. Like I hadn't told her I wasn't okay with it. You're really doing this? I asked, voice low. The steam from my cup was the only thing rising in that moment. Everything else in me was sinking. Madison turned around and gave me that fake laugh. The one she uses when she wants to make me seem like the crazy one. Don't be so dramatic, Tyler, she sighed. It's not like we're getting a hotel room and reliving old memories. But that's exactly what they were doing. I knew it in my gut. Let me rewind a little. 2 weeks ago, I noticed she'd been distant, scrolling on her phone at 2 a.m., turning it over when I came near. She stopped asking about my day. Stopped touching me altogether. Not even a hug before bed. Then Liam's name popped up in a conversation with her friend Haley. I wasn't even snooping. Haley had FaceTimed her while she was in the shower, and her phone screen lit up. I saw the preview of the message. Did you tell Tyler yet? He's gonna flip when he finds out about the trip, grimacing face. Tell Tyler what? Flip about what trip? That night, I asked her. She lied right to my face. Said she and the girls were planning a spa weekend. Said she needed time to reset. But something didn't sit right. Madison hates spas. She once said massages made her feel violated by strangers. I let it go for the moment, but something in me sparked. Call it intuition. Call it survival. Call it years of watching her manipulate everyone around her. 3 days later, I found the receipts, literally. A printed itinerary tucked in her laptop bag with 2 names, Madison Cooper and Liam Monroe. 1 room. 1 king-sized bed. When I confronted her, she didn't even flinch. You're acting like I'm going to jump his bones the second we land, she said, smirking. We were friends before we were engaged. Not everyone has to be your enemy, Tyler. I should have yelled, thrown the coffee cup, packed her bag for her, and thrown it out the window. But I just stood there, numb. And that's when I realized something. Madison wasn't confused. She wasn't emotional. She wasn't wrestling with temptation. She was choosing this. Choosing him. So, I made a choice too. I didn't stop her from going. I smiled, helped her load her bag into the Uber, and kissed her on the cheek. Then I got to work. You want karma, Madison? I'll show you what it looks like when a man hits his breaking point and doesn't break. I had 3 days. 3 days to flip the script. I called Madison's best friend, Rachel, the one she backstabbed last year by sleeping with her ex-boyfriend behind her back. Yeah, that Madison. I knew Rachel would be down for what I had in mind. I also called my lawyer, froze the joint account, changed the locks, and filed a temporary injunction to secure the house under my name. Turns out, when you're the sole owner and you move fast, you can make a lot of things very permanent. But that was just the beginning. By the time Madison landed with her ex in Charleston, thinking she was about to relive her college romance like some twisted rom-com, I had changed the game. I was no longer her husband. I was the man who had nothing left to lose, and I was just getting started. When Madison texted me a selfie from the plane, smiling next to Liam, I didn't even flinch. I just watched the little bubbles pop up on my screen. Landed. Don't be mad, face-blowing kiss, promised to call you tonight. Mad. She thought I was mad. That's the word she chose. Not betrayed, not disgusted, not even hurt. Just mad, like a kid denied candy at the store. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat back in my chair, sipping whiskey neat, and stared at the document my lawyer had just sent me. The divorce petition was clean, sharp, and already filed. She'd be served before she even finished her overpriced brunch with Liam. But I didn't want that to be the first thing she saw. No, I wanted her to feel it first. So, I made one more call. A quiet one. Her job. Or more specifically, her HR department. See, what Madison didn't realize was that using company funds for a business seminar, and then flying out with your ex-fiancé on that same company's dime. Not a great look. Especially when you left a digital paper trail of hotel confirmations and wine tastings. The woman never was good at covering her tracks. I sent over everything anonymously. Screenshots. Booking receipts. Emails where she faked a meeting schedule. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because I finally saw her clearly, not as my wife, not as the woman I once dreamed about building a life with, but as a professional scam artist in a tight dress with a fake smile and no conscience. While she was sipping cocktails and probably wrapping her legs around Liam under the table, her email was lighting up like a Christmas tree. And still, I waited. That night, she called. 11:42 p.m. Hey, babe, she purred. I didn't get a chance to call earlier. We got caught in the rain and then, well, you know how Charleston is. I stayed quiet. Tyler, she said, tone shifting. I know everything, I said. Flat. Cold. Silence. She laughed, nervously. Everything. What? Babe, come on. Don't do that dramatic thing you do when you're spiraling. It's really unattractive. I could practically hear the eye roll through the phone. You lied to me, Madison. Again. You went on a trip with the man you almost married. You booked a king bed. You pretended it was a girls' spa weekend. You used your company's credit card. And you thought I'd just smile and wave while you did it. You went through my stuff, she snapped, immediately shifting the blame. Classic Madison. Are you serious right now? That's abuse, Tyler. You're being controlling again. That word, again. Like I was the villain here. Like she was the victim of my, what, curiosity? I didn't even raise my voice. I froze the account, I said. Changed the locks. Filed for divorce. And sent everything to your HR. I suggest you start job hunting when you get back. The silence that followed was the most beautiful sound I'd heard in months. You're bluffing, she whispered, suddenly unsure. I ended the call without a word. 3 hours later, Rachel texted me a screenshot of Madison's private story. A dark selfie. Eyes red. Caption, can't trust anyone. People are so fake. People. She still couldn't admit it was her fault. That she wrecked something sacred and thought she'd get away with it. The next morning, she called again. I didn't answer. That afternoon, Liam called me. Yeah, he called me. Tyler, man, I didn't know she was still married. She told me you two were separated. I let him talk. Let him squirm and apologize. Let him sound like the innocent party in all this. But I was already past anger. Past revenge. I was calculating now. I suggest you buy your own return ticket, I told him. Because Madison's about to find out what it feels like to come back to a life she no longer owns. He muttered something and hung up. I went for a walk. Breathed in the air. For the first time in a long time, it tasted like freedom. When I got back home, I stood in the living room and looked around. This was the house we bought together. Every painting, every couch, every little plan in a white pot she insisted on. It all looked different now. Like props in a play I'd been forced to act in. And the curtain had finally dropped. 3 days left until she got back. And I wasn't done yet. She got home at 9:23 p.m. on a Tuesday, dragging her suitcase up the front steps like the world had wronged her. I watched her through the camera I'd installed the day after she left, tiny, tucked above the porch light. Her makeup was smudged, hair tied in a lazy bun, attitude already radiating through the screen. I didn't open the door. She stood there for 5 minutes, probably thinking I was asleep. Then she fumbled with her key. Didn't work. She knocked. Then pounded. Then started yelling. Tyler, open the damn door. What is this? I took a sip of bourbon and waited. When she finally gave up and called, I answered on speaker so I could hear her and keep scrolling through the photos I'd been sent. Rachel had come through for me. She'd followed Madison and Liam around Charleston. Not because I asked her to, but because she said that B*TCH needs to be exposed properly. She was right. There they were, Madison and Liam holding hands on King Street, kissing near the fountain. Her sitting on his lap during dinner, sipping wine like she hadn't destroyed 2 lives for a weekend fling with an old flame who clearly aged like milk. I opened the door. She stormed in like she owned the place. What the F***ck did you do, Tyler? I couldn't get into the bank. My phone's blowing up. My company suspended me. What the actual hell is going on? I didn't speak. Just handed her a yellow envelope from the counter. She stared at it. What's this? She hissed. Divorce papers. And screenshots. And the footage from our home camera before you left, when you were on the phone with Haley, laughing about how dumb I am. Her face twitched. She wasn't used to being caught. She was used to getting close, then charming her way out of it. You seriously spying on me now? This is next level psycho. I almost laughed. You cheated on me. You lied. You chose Liam over your husband. This is your mess. She threw the envelope on the floor. You think this is going to scare me? You think you're the first man to try and teach me a lesson? Please. She took a step closer, eyes burning. You won't survive without me. You think Rachel gives a damn about you? She's using you. Everyone is. And Liam? He was just fun. You're boring. You always were. There it was. The truth she kept bottled up, now dripping from her lips like venom. But I didn't react. That's what she wanted. A fight. A crack. A weakness. I've already moved on, I said quietly. While you were on your little honeymoon, I was building my freedom. You've got 48 hours to grab your things. After that, anything left is trash. She laughed, sharp and hollow. You can't do that. I already did. I stepped aside. Let her storm past me, up the stairs, probably to see if I'd touched her stupid little collection of crystals and overpriced makeup. While she was upstairs, I opened another envelope, this one addressed to me. From her job. It was confirmation that they'd officially terminated her for unauthorized personal expenses and falsified documents. I was going to save it for later, but it felt too satisfying. I walked up and slid the letter under the bedroom door. A few seconds passed. Then, are you serious? You got me fired. No, you got you fired. She burst out of the room, red-faced and ready to scream, but I turned and walked downstairs. Her voice chased me, shrill and furious. You're pathetic. You'll regret this. Maybe, but it wouldn't be today. I sat on the couch and let her shout. Let her throw things. Let her unravel. This wasn't revenge. This was release. Everything she destroyed, I was rebuilding without her. And the best part? She knew it. It was eating her alive. That night, I slept better than I had in months. She slept on the guest bed like a stranger in the house she helped poison. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. But not before leaving a note. You were never strong enough for me anyway. Have fun being lonely. I stared at it for a long time. Then I crumpled it and tossed it in the trash. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought she'd vanish, lick her wounds, crawl back to whatever piece of trash she thought Liam was. But Madison? No. Madison wasn't wired like that. She didn't leave quietly. She left fire in her wake. 2 days after she stormed out, my phone blew up. Blocked numbers. Unknown texts. Fake Instagram accounts. Someone was spreading rumors, dirty, twisted lies about me. That I'd been abusive. That I was unstable. That I'd cheated first. Screenshots of messages that I never wrote, conversations that didn't exist. Then came the cops. A wellness check. I opened the door to find 2 officers standing on my porch like I was the villain in some late-night crime show. Sir, we received a report of potential domestic violence and emotional threats. Just here to ask a few questions. I smiled. Not out of amusement, out of disgust. Let me guess. Her name starts with an M. They didn't answer. They didn't have to. I invited them in, showed them everything, divorce filings, camera footage, the letters from her job, even the voice recording I had of her threatening me. The same one I hadn't planned to use unless I had to. The officers left with a handshake and an apology. But it wasn't over. She tried to take the car. One of those lawyers who markets on Instagram took her case, the kind who thinks theatrics are law. They tried to spin it like she'd been trapped in a controlling relationship, that I'd emotionally cornered her into isolation. They didn't expect the paper trail I had, or the video of her and Liam on that trip, or the receipts from her company card. Her lawyer dropped her 2 days later. Then, one night, Liam showed up at my house. I watched him through the peephole, sweaty, nervous, looking over his shoulder like he was being followed. I opened the door just enough to speak. What do you want? He looked at me like he hadn't slept in days. She told me she was pregnant, man. I said nothing. She's saying it's mine, but the dates don't add up. I don't even know if she's telling the truth anymore. She's been blowing up my phone, showing up at my place, crying, then threatening. I thought you should know. She's unraveling. I should have slammed the door in his face, but something in his eyes told me he was a victim too. Not like me, but close. She used him, then turned on him, just like she turned on Rachel, like she turned on everyone once they'd served their purpose. I'm not your therapist, I said. Figure your sh*T out. But don't come here again. I shut the door. That night, I sat alone on the porch, watching the wind tear through the trees like it was trying to say something. And I thought about how long I let her twist me up inside. How many nights I laid in bed wondering if I was enough. How often I gave her the benefit of the doubt, even when the evidence was dripping in blood. Love had made me blind, but betrayal had sharpened me. And still, some part of me ached. Not for her. For the version of me that believed in her. For the man who thought loyalty was enough. For the idiot who gave everything to someone who was only ever pretending. A few days passed. Quiet days. Peaceful, even. Then one morning, I got a call. Blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. Not tears. Not apologies. Just her voice, low and angry. You'll regret this, Tyler. I swear to God. You think you've won? You haven't even seen what I'm capable of. I deleted it, but I saved the recording, just in case. Because with Madison, it's never really over. She doesn't lose. She waits. She poisons. She infects. And I'd spent too long mistaking her disease for desire. I checked my locks, changed the alarm code, and waited. Because the next move? It wouldn't be hers. She showed up at my job 2 days later, wearing that fake little smile she always used when she wanted something. Hair done, sunglasses too big for her face, acting like nothing had happened. Like the last few weeks didn't exist. I saw her through the glass wall of the conference room and froze mid-sentence. My boss, Mark, turned to follow my gaze. You know her? I clenched my jaw. Unfortunately, I walked out before she could open her mouth and waved her toward the parking lot. Leave, I said under my breath. She tilted her head like I was being unreasonable. Can we talk for 2 minutes, Tyler? I drove all the way here. You also faked abuse claims, tried to ruin my name, lost your job, and blamed me for everything. So no, we cannot talk. She took a step closer. You don't understand. Liam bailed on me. My landlord's kicking me out. My parents won't even take my calls. I have nothing right now. Not my problem. She flinched, but only for a second. Her eyes were scanning me, reading my face, looking for cracks in the wall. Then her tone changed. You're not going to give me even $1? You're really just going to stand there and watch me fall apart? I didn't answer. Because honestly, I didn't recognize this version of her. The Madison I married would have never begged. She would have destroyed someone to get what she wanted before letting her pride slip like that. But now, she looked desperate. Not broken, but exposed. Like the mask had finally rotted off, and what was underneath couldn't even keep up the illusion. I gave you everything, I said. And you torched it. Now you want sympathy? I want my F***king life back, she hissed. I laughed. I couldn't help it. You mean the life you lied through your teeth to build? The one you thought you were too clever to lose? You were never building a life. You were staging a performance. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. That's when I noticed her hands were shaking. Not out of fear. Out of fury. You'll regret this, she muttered, low and cold. I don't care how long it takes. You will. Get in line. I turned and walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Because that was it. The moment I finally knew she had no more cards left. That night, Rachel sent me a screenshot from Madison's burner account, some vague Instagram story. Some men only learn when you show them how dangerous a woman can be. I didn't respond. Rachel just replied, she's spiraling. Be careful. But I wasn't afraid. I was prepared. I'd already sent everything to my lawyer. Already made copies of every message, every threat, every voicemail. Already warned my building's security. Already braced for the next wave of chaos she thought she could unleash. What she didn't realize, she was predictable now, and that made her powerless. I went home that night, made dinner in silence, poured myself a drink, and sat on the balcony, watching the city glow in front of me. For the first time in a long time, I felt still. Not happy, not healed, but still. Because healing isn't fireworks. It's quiet. It's cutting ties that were strangling you and realizing you can breathe without them. And breathing felt good. A week passed. Quiet. Almost too quiet. No messages. No fake accounts. No mysterious knocks at the door. I'd be lying if I said I didn't expect something, some explosion, some stunt. But nothing came. Just silence. I started running again in the mornings. I'd stopped during the marriage, always making excuses, too tired, too busy. Truth was, I never had the mental space. Madison was a full-time job. You never knew when she'd come home with a storm in her eyes, or suddenly decide I was the reason her life wasn't perfect. Walking on eggshells takes energy. And I was bankrupt for years. Now I had space. And time. And breath. Until Tuesday. I was on my 5th lap around the park when my phone buzzed in my pocket. I stopped under a tree, chest heaving, sweat dripping down my temples. I almost ignored it, figured it was spam or work. But then I saw the name. Rachel. I answered. Her voice was tight. Panicked. Tyler. She's here. I froze. Where? At my place. Crying. Pacing. She's saying she's pregnant, that she has no one, that she made a mistake. My gut twisted. Don't let her in, Rachel. She's already inside. I closed my eyes. Is she alone? Yeah, but she's got that look. You know the one. Like when she used to start drama just to feel something. I could see it already, Madison standing in Rachel's apartment like she owned the air in it, voice low, hands trembling just enough to get sympathy, playing the wounded angel card. I'll be right there. Rachel lived 10 minutes away. I didn't run. I walked fast, fists clenched, my mind racing the entire time. I didn't know what I was walking into. Was she actually pregnant? Faking it? Was this a setup? I'd stopped trying to guess with Madison because every time I thought she couldn't sink lower, she proved me wrong. When Rachel opened the door, Madison was sitting on the floor by the window, hugging her niece. No makeup. Eyes puffy. Hoodie too big for her. Theatrics. She looked up. Tyler. I didn't respond. Rachel stepped aside and crossed her arms, clearly regretting letting her in. I didn't know where else to go, Madison started, voice soft. Liam's ghosted me. My phone's off. I can't even afford my meds right now. I've been staying in my car for 3 days. Still, I said nothing. She reached into her hoodie and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Set it on the floor in front of her like it was proof. I'm pregnant. The words landed like glass shattering in a quiet room. Rachel stepped forward. When's the due date? Madison hesitated. Just a flicker, but I saw it. Early January. That math didn't work. Not even close. I knelt and picked up the paper. It was a real ultrasound. Name cropped out. You bought this online? I asked, calm. She blinked. What? This. You bought it. I've seen the sites. Print your own ultrasound, add fake details. You cropped out the name. No hospital logo. No patient ID. Just enough to look real if someone wanted to believe you. Why would I fake this? She whispered. Rachel laughed under her breath. Because you're losing control, I said. And this is your last trick. I'm not lying. You've been lying since the day I met you. You lied about that weekend with Liam. You lied about the abuse claims. You even lied to your parents to make me look like the villain. She stood suddenly. I needed you, Tyler. And you abandoned me. You think you're some kind of saint now? You think you're better than me? No, I said. I know I am. That broke her. Her face twisted into something vicious. You think this is the end? You think you're free just because you changed your locks and printed some papers? I know I'm free. Because you no longer exist in my world. You're just a story I survived. She opened her mouth, but I was already turning toward the door. I'll be filing a restraining order tomorrow, I said without looking back. Don't ever show up here again. And with that, I walked out. Rachel caught up with me in the hallway. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, I think that was the last scene. She smiled. That girl's a whole horror movie. Yeah, I said, breathing in deep. But the credits just rolled. The next morning, I stood outside the courthouse with the paperwork in my hand. I didn't want to be there. No one does. You walk in with documents, but what you're really carrying is the final weight of everything that broke you. And mine had a name. Madison Cooper. Inside, it was fast. The clerk barely looked up as she stamped the forms. Just another restraining order. Just another broken marriage turned war zone. When I walked out, the sun was too bright. I felt numb. Not empty, but not whole either. Like someone had carved out a piece of me and filled it with concrete. I drove home in silence, windows down, letting the wind rush over my skin like it could scrape off everything she left behind. That night, I slept with the bedroom door open. It felt symbolic. Like the air could move freely now. Like I didn't have to live in fear of what might be whispered in the dark. But Madison wasn't done. Of course she wasn't. 3 days later, I woke up to find red lipstick smeared across my front door, like some pathetic horror movie. A single word scrawled in wide, desperate letters. Liar. No cameras caught her. She knew that. She remembered the blind spot between the door and the porch light. I took a photo, wiped it clean, and added it to the file. Sent it to my lawyer. Sent it to the judge. Let her dig her own hole. I wasn't doing it for her anymore. A week passed. Then 2. No new messages. No new stunts. The silence became normal. And in that silence, I started to heal. I changed the apartment. Got rid of the rug she picked out. Tossed the weird candle holders shaped like snakes. Donated her designer blankets to a shelter. Repainted the bedroom, dark gray, nothing fancy, but mine. I stopped reacting to her name. Stopped checking the door twice. Stopped having dreams where she was still in the kitchen, barefoot, pretending we were okay. Rachel and I stayed friends. We'd meet for coffee sometimes. She'd joke that I looked 10 pounds lighter in the soul. I'd laugh because it was true. And then, out of nowhere, Liam reached out again. This time, through a long email. He told me Madison had gone off the rails. Showed up at his work, threatened his new girlfriend, got arrested for trespassing. He apologized again. Said he felt stupid. Said being with her was like being caught in a beautiful tornado. You know it's dangerous, but for a minute, it feels like flying. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. That chapter was done. One night, maybe a month later, I sat on the balcony with a drink and my phone. The city lights below looked different now. Softer. Less like chaos, more like motion. I opened a blank note and typed something simple. Things I learned. If someone shows you who they are early, believe them. Love doesn't fix liars. Being alone isn't the worst thing. Being with the wrong person is. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you build yourself. Forgiveness is freedom. Not for them. For you. I saved it. Closed the app. Then I looked at the night sky, smiled to myself, and whispered. Finally. Months passed. Fall crept in, slow and golden, brushing the trees outside my window with burnt orange and quiet. I'd always loved this season, the calm before winter, the way the air shifted. But this year, it felt different. Lighter. Like the storm had finally passed, and I was standing in the stillness, breathing without pain. Madison never came back. No lipstick on the door. No surprise visits. No burner accounts. It was as if she finally realized there was nothing left to take. No more cracks to slip through. No more games to play. The restraining order was upheld in court. The judge barely blinked when we handed over the pile of evidence. And the look on her face, when she saw that her power over me was officially gone, wasn't rage. It was fear. Because when you live manipulating people, losing control is death. The divorce finalized a few weeks after that. Clean cut. No spousal support. No assets split. Nothing. Just a thick envelope from my lawyer, a signature, and silence. And with that, the chapter closed. The strange part? I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel broken either. I just felt done. Like I'd climbed out of a burning house and was finally standing on fresh ground. Scarred, maybe, but standing. And stronger than ever. I started writing again, something I used to love before the chaos. Little journal entries. Letters I never sent. Pieces of myself I had shelved for years to play the part of husband to someone who never actually wanted a partner, just an audience. One night, I sat down and wrote this. If you're reading this and you're still trying to fix someone who's only ever breaking you, let go. That's not love. That's survival disguised as romance. And it will eat you alive if you let it. I didn't publish it. I just saved it. But I've read it every week since. Rachel eventually moved across the country, new job, new life. She hugged me before she left and said, "You deserve something quiet. Something real. No fireworks. Just peace." She was right. And one day, I think I'll find that. Not today. Not tomorrow. But I'm not rushing it. Because now I know peace isn't found in someone else's arms. It's found in your own reflection, the day you look in the mirror and say, I survived her. And mean it. So yeah, this is the end of the story. But not the end of me. Not even close.